The manifestation process I share with you in this video has the potential to put hundreds of thousands of dollars directly in your bank account, and it's ridiculously simple. That's why in today's video I'm going to reveal how using robotic affirmations in combination with one of Neville Goddard's most powerful secrets will completely shift your reality. What affirmations to use and which ones to avoid if you want to supercharge your manifestation power, and the 3 advanced ways to use robotic affirmations that make them 10 times more powerful. And keep in mind that what I share with you in this video is the perfect framework for robotic affirmations, and if you miss out on only one point, this could mean that the whole framework doesn't work for you and you won't be able to manifest with robotic affirmations, so make sure that you watch this video till the very end. Now let's first have a look at what robotic affirmations actually are and what they have to do with one of Neville Goddard's most powerful principles. Because did you know it? Did you know that Neville Goddard loves robotic affirmations and that he used robotic affirmations? And when I first heard about the term robotic affirmations, I thought to myself, oh yeah, I'm German, I can do that, I can speak like a robot, I can say, put that cookie down, now, get to the chopper. As a German, I assumed that I have the perfect DNA to be successful at robotic affirmations, and you can imagine my disappointment when I found out that robotic affirmations don't mean that you have to speak like a robot. Oh, god damn it. But what robotic affirmations are actually about is to repeat an affirmation over and over and over again. What I ended up realizing is that robotic affirmations are the essence of Neville Goddard's mental diet. No, not his mental breakdown, but his mental diet. And that's why Neville Goddard said the following words in his lecture Mental Diets from the year 1955. The transformation of self requires that we meditate on a given phrase, a phrase which implies that our ideal is realized, and inwardly affirm it over and over and over again until we are inwardly affected by its implication, until we are possessed by it. He also sums up the importance of affirmations in the following quote that you can find in Awakened Imagination. The individual's inner speech and actions attract the conditions of his life. That's what affirmations truly are. They are your inner speech, and by speaking them out loud or by speaking them in your mind, you are meditating on a given phrase. But I want to take it one step further because I really want you to understand how powerful robotic affirmations and manifesting with robotic affirmations truly is. And that's why I now want to ask you a very important question. What if every thought that you think, either consciously or unconsciously, was an affirmation in itself? As human beings, we think about 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts every day, and 90 to 95% of them are repetitive. And this is something that we have to deal with, which means that every thought that we are thinking, every one of these 60,000 thoughts, no matter if we think it unconsciously by always repeating a certain negative belief over and over again, or if we're thinking them consciously by repeating an affirmation over and over again, we are always affirming a certain state and then again reaffirming it over and over and over again. Just take the following examples. I can't do it. I'm not good enough. I will never change. If you think these thoughts over and over again throughout the day, you are always reaffirming this specific state, which is not in alignment whatsoever with your manifestation. That's why it's important for you to make a decision and to look at yourself in the mirror and to ask yourself, do I want to continue to live my life like a victim? If no, then we have to change your thoughts. And you can actively change your thoughts by using affirmations, because every affirmation is a thought. So now compare the thoughts that I mentioned earlier with the following thoughts. I am powerful. I am abundant. I am free. I am unlimited. Now we're getting closer and closer to the materialization of your manifestation and to you truly living your dream life. But one question remains. Are you willing to give up what you have to give up? This might sound crazy, but way too many people completely overcomplicate using robotic affirmations. And don't get me wrong, I love long affirmations. If you've ever worked with me in my 8-week abundance reality shift coaching program or in an individual coaching session, then you know that I'm a huge fan of long affirmations. In fact, I love my long-ass affirmations so much. I am abundant and I love my life, and I'm so abundant because in the abundance there is so much abundance. From the abundance and it's so abundant. But imagine for a moment that you choose an affirmation that is so long that it takes you 2 minutes from the beginning to the end to repeat it either out loud or in your mind. Even the universe will be like, when will you finally shut up? Such a long affirmation might work really well for you if you repeat it in the morning while you read it out loud. But it's way too long for robotic affirmations, because if you repeat this affirmation 100 times during a day, you will burn so many precious brain cells, and at some point you will end up like this. But hey, maybe I'm just too stupid and I can't focus for such a long time. But let's have a look at how you can create robotic affirmations that are absolutely perfect. And there's one principle that I want you to keep in mind, and that is the principle: keep it short and simple. Because you have to remember that the longer you make your affirmation, the more resistance you introduce in the process, because you give your subconscious mind more opportunities to say, oh, you know, this affirmation is so long, let's just start tomorrow. I don't want to deal with that bullshit right now. But now imagine the opposite scenario. Imagine you use a very specific short affirmation. In this moment, your subconscious mind can't tell you, you know, it's too long, it's too complicated, let's not do this. But instead, your subconscious mind will be like, okay, that's so simple that even I understand it. And that's how you can use robotic affirmations effectively. Now let's have a look at some different example affirmations for different categories that you can use directly in your robotic affirmation process. Category wealth: I make X dollars a month. I have a net worth of X. I am a millionaire. Category health: I am healed. My body is healed. I am whole. Category love: I am in a loving relationship. My SP loves me. I have the perfect partner. My advice: use affirmations that are as short as possible, as specific as possible, and as personal as possible, because otherwise you just enter a state of confusion of the highest order, and then it will be difficult for you to control your inner conversation. And according to Neville Goddard, especially his lecture Mental Diets, controlling your inner conversations is absolutely necessary, because here's what he says. The great secret of success is a controlled inner conversation from premises of fulfilled desire. The only price you pay for success is the giving up of your former conversation, which belongs to the old man, the unsuccessful man. That's why I asked you before, are you willing to give up what you have to give up? And if the answer is yes, then you are ready to experience the magic of robotic affirming, and this leads me directly to the next point. The next step is perhaps the most disregarded one, but it's also the one that can lead to the biggest breakthroughs. And I have to warn you, I personally use robotic affirmations completely different than 99% of other YouTubers or manifestation coaches, because I don't do this. I make $20,000 a month. I make $20,000 a month. Instead, I'm doing this. I make $20,000 a month. 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 And that's why I'm excited to introduce Robotic Affirmations 2.0, because these little fellas, they have feelings. And even Neville Goddard said that vain repetition is not the answer, because if you want to affirm a certain state, you have to feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled. That's why Neville Goddard says, the rise is accomplished by affirming that we are already that which we want to be, by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And vain repetition leads to two problems. The first problem is that you are not fully immersing yourself in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, because if you were immersing yourself in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you would speak with conviction. And the second problem is that you signal to the universe that you don't believe that this affirmation is true for you, because otherwise you would feel what the fulfillment of this affirmed state truly means to you. And if you want to make affirmations work for you, then the affirmation has to feel true to you. That's why Neville Goddard says this in The Art of Believing. It is not a strong will that sends the subjective word on its mission, so much as it is clear thinking and feeling the truth of the state affirmed. So what would it feel like to already have what you affirm? What would it feel like to already live the life that you affirm? The more you enter the state of the wish fulfilled, the more you allow yourself to enter a state of naturalness. And this state of naturalness is what draws the reality to you. Just have a look at what Neville Goddard says in The Power of Awareness. The time it takes your assumption to become fact, your desire to be fulfilled, is directly proportionate to the naturalness of your feeling, of already being what you want to be, of already having what you desire. And spicing up robotic affirmations with the feeling is the perfect way to create this state of naturalness by going into the feeling of the wish fulfilled over and over again. And now there is just one thing that could stop you from manifesting your dreams with robotic affirmations, and that's your perfectionism. When I began using robotic affirmations, it was hard for me to focus on my one affirmation that I had designed back then, and that was the affirmation, I make $20,000 a month, because I repeated it over and over again like this. I make $20,000 a month, I make $20,000 a month. Did I actually put the cheese in the fridge or out of the fridge? Oh God, I accidentally put it in the freezer. The truth that everyone who wants to manifest their reality has to accept is that the only way for us to change our reality is to change. The problem, however, is that your subconscious mind is anchored to a certain reality, and your subconscious mind hates change. And that's why you might experience one of the following symptoms in the beginning of working with robotic affirmations. Symptom number 1, you get incredibly bored when you're repeating your robotic affirmation, up to a point where you're like this. I am so wealthy. I'm so... Symptom number 2, you suddenly realize that you forgot to speak your affirmation for the last 5 hours until the universe says this. Brunhild, Brunhild, he forgot again. Is the soup ready? Symptom number 3, it gets increasingly hard for you to feel yourself into your affirmation, and you end up like me. I have to produce emotions. I know this goes against my German programming, but I have to produce the emotions. And then you might up ending beating yourself up, you want to quit, and you might even throw a temper tantrum in which you say, robotic affirmations don't work. But not so fast. And by going down these 3 different paths, you are dwelling on your imperfection. But in feeling is the secret, Neville Goddard said. Do not dwell on the imperfection of yourself or others. To do so is to impress the subconscious with these limitations. That's why I suggest the following simple robotic affirmation practice system. Step 1. Start by doing little small robotic affirmation workouts throughout the day, 1 minute here, 1 minute there. Step 2, increase the time to 5 minutes. I know that you can focus on your affirmation for 5 minutes. Step 3, incorporate robotic affirmations into your daily routine while brushing your teeth. I make $20,000 a month. I make $20,000 a month. And you can also repeat your robotic affirmations while you're having breakfast. I make $20,000 a month. Yum, 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 yum. Remember that by realizing that you don't have to do it perfectly, but instead you just have fun with it. You just enjoy the process. You don't beat yourself up if you forget them for a couple of minutes. And you don't beat yourself up if you don't immediately reach the feeling, but you practice again and again until you reach that state of naturalness, because Neville Goddard said, "Dwell upon my words, put them into practice, and you will experience their fulfillment, for all things exist within you." And speaking of putting things into practice, imagine you had access to more than 60 guided meditations and recorded hypnosis files for manifesting money, manifesting love, and manifesting health, and you could practice manifesting your dream life every single day. I recently included a brand new bonus in my audio program, the 11 Days to Manifestation Mastery program, which is my ultimate guided meditation and hypnosis vault with more than 60 guided meditations and hypnosis files. And by you going to affirmationtomanifestation.com/mastery or by clicking on the second link in the description, you can find out more. And now let's continue with the next point. But after having successfully grown your robotic affirmations muscle until a point where you can easily enter the state of naturalness, there is one thing that so many people who manifest with robotic affirmations completely ignore, and this is one of the biggest mistakes you can make, because what is the opposite of boring? Maybe you think about words such as exciting or adventure or fun or sauerkraut. And that's exactly what I did. I did my best to make using robotic affirmations more fun. And by making them more fun, I got excited in the morning for using my robotic affirmations. And then eventually, using my robotic affirmations turned into one big adventure. And yes, it can get boring to repeat the same affirmation 100 times or 1,000 times, but that's why Neville Goddard said the following words about joy: "In your faith is your fortune." These seeds are pressed out and planted when man loses himself in a wild, mad state of joy, consciously feeling and claiming himself to be that which he formerly desired to be. And here are some practical techniques that you can use to lose yourself in a wild state of joy while you are manifesting with robotic affirmations. Technique number 1, turn your robotic affirmation into a jingle and sing it out loud. I make $20,000 a month. Technique number 2, dance while you're repeating your affirmation out loud or in your mind. I make okay, no, not the duck dance. I make $20,000 a month. I make $20,000 a month. Technique number 3, adjust your voice and express your affirmation in a more powerful way. I make $20,000. Okay, no, let's not do Darth Vader. Let's do it in a real way. I make $20,000 a month. I make $20,000 a month. Because if you speak in this timid way, I make $20,000 a month, yeah, I make $20,000 a month, then the universe is screaming at you, who are you kidding? You don't believe that at all? But if you instead say, I make $20,000 a month, that's the conviction that leads to the state of naturalness, which then leads to the fulfillment of your manifestation. But now it's enough of these shenanigans. Now we want to continue with the next point. Now, what if I told you that you can combine robotic affirmations with something that I'm teaching in my 8-week abundance reality shift coaching program and that I'm doing every day, and that you might also be doing every day? And no, I'm not talking about going to the bathroom, even though that's also, of course, a time when you can use your robotic affirmations, and even the universe does this. I have to do poop. I'm talking about something that I'm doing every day for the last 5 years since my spiritual awakening, and here's a hint. Yes, I'm talking about meditation, because meditation and robotic affirmations can be perfectly combined. In fact, in meditation, the joyful art of persistence, Neville Goddard shared the following words with us. All that meditation amounts to is a controlled imagination and a well-sustained attention. Simply hold the attention on a certain idea until it fills the mind and crowds all other ideas out of consciousness. And that's why I invite you to practice with the following robotic affirmation meditation technique. Step 1. Allow yourself to go into a beautiful meditative state by breathing in and out in a relaxed 4 to 5 second rhythm, where you breathe in 4 seconds and you then breathe out 4 seconds, and you allow yourself to, with your eyes closed of course, to sink deeper and deeper into this relaxed state. And then in step number 2, that's when you can then repeat your robotic affirmation over and over again while you're in this beautiful meditative state, and you can really feel yourself into these words. And then in step number 3, that's when you can allow your subconscious mind to guide you to images that fully immerse you in this imaginal act of the life that you want to create. What I want to share now with you as the last point in this video is how you can combine robotic affirmations with the most famous and also one of the most powerful manifestation techniques from Neville Goddard. And I can tell you from my own experience that it's an explosive mix in the best possible way, because I love to use robotic affirmations right when I'm about to drift off to sleep, because I know that then the money that I want can flow to me. And more often than not, I'm dreaming vividly about the life that I want to manifest. And by using Neville Goddard's SATs, the state akin to sleep, and by then often dreaming about my wonderful life that I'm in the process of manifesting, I truly immerse myself in the experience so much that I feel as if I already have what I want. And this feeling of certainty leads to the state of naturalness. And in The Power of Awareness, Neville Goddard says, "It is a state akin to sleep, but one in which you are still in control of the direction of attention. You must learn to induce this state at will." And here's how it works if you want to use the state akin to sleep in your nighttime routine, the way I love to do it. Step 1, you lie on your pillow under your blanket ready to fall asleep. But you don't fall asleep yet. Instead, you are in this drowsy state, and in this beautiful drowsy state, you are then either out loud, or I love to do it while whispering, you then whisper this affirmation to you over and over again while you're in this beautiful drowsy state. And in step number 3, you then drift off to sleep and you enjoy a vivid, beautiful dream of you living the dream life that you want to manifest. And if you're still struggling with this process, then I invite you to listen to the following words from Neville Goddard, which he shared with us in Resurrection. Imagine your dream as reality. If it is difficult to control the direction of your attention while in a state akin to sleep, you may find gazing fixedly into an object very helpful. Do not look at its surface, but into and beyond any plain object, such as a wall, a carpet, or any other object which possesses depth. And now you're ready to enjoy your wildest dreams by manifesting them with robotic affirmations. And if financial freedom and abundance is a part of your dream life, then I invite you to go to affirmationtomanifestation.com/abundance or to click on the first link in the description to find out more about my 8-week one-on-one coaching program, the Abundance Reality Shift Coaching Program. Now, what if I told you that I also used robotic affirmations to manifest $63,000 in just 90 days? If you're ready to find out exactly how I did it, you can watch this video next.